Hello everybody, it is me, Schule, and this is the development cycle of Zombie Rush. I'll be talking about the history of Zombie Rush, what it's been like making Zombie Rush, the problems I've had going through it, and a few other things too. This serves as a 100th video special. So let's first start off with the base of this. What is Zombie Rush? Well, Zombie Rush is a game that me and my friend JTKill117 has been making for a few years now, over 3 now. You see, this started all the way back in, I don't even know how long ago, but back before Minecraft Bedrock Edition even existed, there was another version of Minecraft on the Xbox. This version is now called Minecraft Legacy Edition. It lacks a lot of the features that Minecraft Bedrock and Java have, such as command blocks and commands. You have a very limited amount of freedom compared to what you have now, and it's only updated to about 1.12, so it's very far behind. 8 major updates to be precise. So why am I mentioning this? Well, ever since I was a lot younger, I decided to take it upon myself to make mini games on Minecraft. It started with a game called Ghoul Games. Called it Ghoul Games because my old username at the time was Ghoulboy7. So it's pretty much just a world where you would go around, do these mini games such as Dropper or fight waves of zombies, totally not inspired by Call of Duty zombies, PvP, and parkour. Stuff like that. You would do these mini games and you'll get rewards depending on how difficult the game is. You could use these rewards on getting such as different cosmetics or different items to boost your, progression. It was a very simple game, but considering how it wasn't anything crazy, it didn't get too much traction. I decided to put this on group post. On Xbox there is a feature where you can make something called looking for group post, where it is a post that you could post online to the whole community, or at least on Xbox, that would be able to join in onto your worlds or join in onto your parties and do what the post is about. In this case, it was me advertising Ghoul Games. It went pretty popular, but eventually I stopped updating it. A few mini games later, or a few different games later, and I eventually ended up making Zombie Rush. Not this version, no, this is a different one. I'm talking about the original Zombie Rush. Now, I'll try to show some pictures of it on the screen if I feel like it, but pretty much it's just you go to different maps and you survive wave by wave of zombies, progressively getting harder. Every 5 waves I would have a custom boss zombie, which I just ended up giving a zombie a bunch of curse of vanishing items, such as iron armor or sword with a head, stuff like that. Upon killing the boss, you would be able to get its head, and you could sell it for points, or sell it for rotten flesh, which was the points. You could use this rotten flesh to level up, get better stuff. There was skill points, which was a really far-fetched idea, but it kind of worked. Based on the level you got, you can get skill points, which you can use on skills. Wow. These skills can give you stuff such as second wins or revive in solo, stuff as certain buffs, or weaken bosses, etc. Whole bunch of stuff. There was this mechanic that wasn't in the new Zombie Rush called airstrikes, where every so often you would get an airstrike and you could use it to just spray down a rain of health potions, which would heal you and damage zombies, since zombies get hurt from healing since they're undead. It was pretty popular. There was a bunch of maps, and I was really proud of it. Now, it was made of redstone, mainly, to, make it sort of automated, but since it was just redstone, there was no real way to make it 100% automated. So I'd have to do the stuff such as giving the zombies the items or spawning the zombies in. reviving people, yada yada yada. But I made this minigame within original Zombie Rush, and this minigame was Deep Space. It was a minigame where you go up into space in a space station, build out to asteroids, harvest them, get resources, make new resources, and just progress. It was extremely simple, and a lot of thought was put into it, but it was surprisingly popular, even more so than my Zombie Rush, even though it was within Zombie Rush as a bonus game. So I decided to lock it to Prestige because I was a little bit annoyed, rightfully so. I mean, a minigame inside of my game, it was even more popular than the actual game itself. I wasn't too happy about that, so I decided to lock it to Prestige only. But eventually, I came to the realization, maybe this game isn't all that bad. So I shelved the idea in my head and moved to Bedrock a few years late. Bedrock by now was about 1.15, almost at 1.16, so it was a few years. And that's when I decided to start working on Zombie Rush R, or Zombie Rush Remastered, or Zombie Rush Revamped, whatever you want to call it. The version you're seeing now. Now, let me kind of go back and show you what it was originally like, because it's not like this, what you're seeing right here. This floating thing up here is the original Zombie Rush R, or the original lobby. You would start in this room. Over here would be all the maps that you could play in. To have command blocks, I'll teleport you down to each map. And the waves were not automatic yet, I didn't implement that, but it worked kind of the same. After it was done, you would end up going down to right here, around here. There would be a button to go to the selling, which you would go down and sell your rotten flesh, potatoes, carrots, iron, all that stuff for points. The points, which you can see on the right side of your screen, you can see I have 83,000, can be used over here, which is the shop. You have tiers, which is just different sections of items categorized. And then you have your levels, which is, well, your main progression, your weapons. And it's a relatively simple concept. Now, there was a few other things too, but that was kind of the main gist of it. Eventually, I ended up, or me and my friend JT Kill, he was the second main developer in charge of most of the coding. We decided to implement a few other systems, such as automation. We added lives, you can see that above my level, where if you're playing co-op, whenever you die, you would end up having respawn into that little mini lobby, I guess. Whenever you enter back into the map, you will lose a life, and you can continue playing. But once you lose all your lives, you won't be able to rejoin the map until the map ends. So we implemented that, and it went pretty well. We eventually added prestige, which once you reach level 10 or higher, you could prestige for skill points and unlock new stuff, such as a prestige shop or a better selling. It went surprisingly well, and people liked it. Eventually, we implemented the skill tree in the same area, it's just blocked off. We have the skill tree, this little section. We had skills such as speed, strength, and kill aura. We had all other skills such as team heal, freeze aura, speed share, and guardian angel. Well, actually, guardian angel wasn't out yet. But we had these skills. The solo ones, which would just affect you, such as speed and strength, and the multiplayer ones like speed share, which everybody around you, including yourself, would get speed, or freeze aura, where all the zombies around you would occasionally get slowed. Team heal, which would give you guys regeneration, etc., etc. These skills worked pretty well, and now I had an incentive to, well, continue playing. Eventually, we ended up making a new lobby a lot later, just because there was way too much stuff and it was way too cluttered in the original. This lobby, me and JT worked on really hard, and I personally really like it. We have stuff such as the selling, which is a lot easier to get to. This is what the selling looks like. You just step on the pressure plates and it'll automatically sell your rotten flesh. We have stuff such as the prestige rooms, which is just a big hallway full of all the different areas you can go to once you prestige. Abilities, which we added in version 0.8. Prestige selling 2, and prestige selling 1, which is just better selling areas with more profit. Enchanting room, which gives you enchanting books, which you can use in the blacksmith, which you can get a few stuff here, such as upgrading your armor to netherite, buying materials for armor trims, and just other stuff. Now, we had our tiers moved into this IKEA looking area. All your different stuff, such as the armor, the what do I call it? I'm losing my train of thought. The shield, the bow, ammo, all sorts of stuff. Potions, totems on dying, and a few cosmetics such as the templates that you can get here. And it went pretty well. So we continued updating it. We added this area full of all the different maps. We had different difficulties: easy maps, normal maps, hard maps, nightmare maps. Eventually we added the abominable maps, which are the hardest of the hard. Dark Castle being an extremely difficult map that was considered to be almost impossible to get a good time in. We eventually added the Polygon, but this was a little bit different. This was shelved off for a specific map, a map that has been in the teasers for a very long time, Chester's Temple. It still hasn't been released, and I'll go back onto Chester's Temple a little later, but it was the main conclusion to the story. Oh yeah, that reminds me. There was story in this game. The story wasn't anything too interesting. It was stuff such as, oh, humans went to a portal, or they made a portal, and they went to hell. They found a organic substance known as lymphony. They found it could be really helpful for human advancement, so they decided to take some and bring it back to the human world. They shelved it off into the map breach, and eventually it ended up escaping. It caused a zombie apocalypse, and things got pretty hectic from here on out. But it's stuff like that. Nothing too interesting, nothing I put too much time into, but something for those more lore-heavy users would have their time on. Now, obviously there's more than what I explained, such as who Chester is, but that is kind of the basis for it. Now, me and JT were the main developers for this, but there was also a lot of other developers. You see, we have a bunch of developers. If I could find them. I don't know where I have it. I have a credits part, but I don't know where I had it. Okay. Well, I did have a credits book somewhere, but there was a lot of other developers. They either worked on specific maps, such as Ripster or Fury, or developers that just worked on the sort of mechanics, such as Asian Invasion, who worked on the AFK system. We had a bunch of people help out. You see, Zombie Rush was pretty boring at some points. Me and JT would constantly update this game, and it wouldn't really be too well. Sometimes we would spend a lot of time updating, and turns out, oh, this system didn't work. We had a lot of struggles and a lot of different things that we couldn't do too well, per se. Now, we took a lot of breaks. Zombie Rush didn't get to its version 1.0 for 2 years, despite being a Minecraft game on Bedrock. We didn't use any resource packs or any add-ons or anything like that, but it was relatively the same. We would work on it for a while, take a break, then go back onto it. Another problem I had was the marketing, since the only way people would find this would be by using my group post, which I would try to do as often as possible, and even that can only hold a specific number of people, very limited. That was the marketing for it. And well, eventually there was some recurring players, such as the one you just see right here, Giovanni Zavala. But even they would eventually get bored of the game too. So I ended up losing my reason to continue multiple times. Until I eventually got that burst of motivation to get at 3 a.m. and decided to continue working on this. Now, sometimes just JT would have to go do something for a little while, or just I would have to go do something. But it was kind of rare for both me and JT to be available to work on this. And that kind of sucked. So updates were very slow, starting at version 0.11. Even after 1.0 dropped, Chester's Temple was supposed to drop during that, but it was never released because it was just too much. It was too much load. 1.0 was already a massive update, and we just were kind of burnt out. Now, here comes the main part of this video, kinda. You see, Chester's Temple, it was supposed to be the final map, and it still is considered to be the final map. A super difficult challenge, harder than hero maps, and it was really, really difficult, and we succeeded. We had a bunch of different things for it, and it worked completely differently than any other map. Pretty much this is how the map would win. You would go into the temple, and there would be 3 doors, a big one in front of you, and then 2 smaller doorways to your left and right. These smaller doorways would end up unlocking the big one. Upon entering them, you would enter a generator room. Turning on the generator would force you to fight a bunch of super buffed zombies and kill as many as you can, because, well, it was kind of like a soul box from Call of Duty, where the more you kill, the more you fill it up. Eventually, you would fill up the generator, and you would activate it. You need to do this for both generators, though, to unlock the main door. And once you unlock that main door, well, then you reach to the next part. You reach this dining room looking area with a throne and a area that says drop the summoning stone for the fight of your life. But there was also another hallway. You go down this hallway and you reach the next section. Now, this had an old version where it was just a surveyor. You would press a button, start the surveyor, and it would survey for the summoning stone. It was pretty much just a survive as long as you can, and eventually you will end up getting the summoning stone, summon the boss. But we changed this because that was too boring. So we decided to make it where you get darkness and blindness, and you would have to look around this maze-like area in order to find the summoning stone. There was 9 different spots you could be in, and it was completely random. A bunch of zombies would spawn, like a bunch of them would spawn, and there was 3 different floors. It was pretty damn scary, I'm not gonna lie with you. There would be too many zombies for you to fight, so you just have to run through, look for the summoning stone, which you wouldn't even know where it is, and eventually find it. Once you do find the summoning stone, you could then have to run back to where you came from, and only then you could now fight the final boss, which was, well, Chester. Upon starting this final boss, it would be pretty simple, like the other bosses. It would be a super buffed mob. In this case, it was a piglin brute. And that would be it, right? Well, no, we added a lot more to it. You see, the boss would summon ads, or summons, or minions, I guess, whatever you want to call them. And it would also have a few abilities, like teleporting around, or getting burst of speed. I don't remember most of the abilities, to be fully honest with you. But once you killed it, oh, well, that would be pretty anticlimactic. Until you realize that there's a second phase, where the boss turned into the Wither. A buffed Wither. It would summon end crystals on top of random players that would blow up pretty shortly. It would dash along, summon Wither skeletons, the map would get broken apart, summon more zombies, everything would be chaotic. Eventually, you would, or maybe not, kill Chester. And wow, you beat Chester, you beat the final boss. That's nice. Well, you would end up getting the Nether Star, and you would end up walking your way to the end. The entire dimension that is of hell at this point would have been destroyed. And that was kind of the intention for it. But you would go back and you would reach this one room. Had 3 different stations, I would call it. One for the Nether Star, and then 2 others. One of them would take the Hodgemidge, which was originally supposed to have a second path, which would just be pretty much the same thing, but if you do a few other things, you would end up getting the Hodgemidge rather than the Nether Star, and get the secret ending. The Nether Star ending, which is the main one, would be that you would reset everything to a prior state, since you kind of destroyed the entire universe. And nobody wants that. So, that's what the Nether Star did. But the Hodgemidge was supposed to be the good end, where you permanently get rid of Chester, and thus fix the entire universe forever. That would be considered the good end. Now obviously you could still play after it, but that would be kind of where the narrative ends. And that was the intention. So why am I telling you all this? Why am I spoiling everything? Well, that comes with a few mistakes. First up, we spent way too long, and thus the community really died out, and it was really hard to bring back. Secondly, I made a pretty big mistake. I was trying to update my Minecraft to a newer version on the PC, and well, I ended up kind of getting mad, so I thought of an idea. What if I uninstalled and reinstalled it? But before that, I looked it up. Does uninstalling Minecraft get rid of your saves? It said no, so I was like, oh, okay. So I went back and uninstalled it. I then reinstalled it, and turns out all my saves are gone. I was like, okay, not a big deal. So I opened up my realm, since I had a realm for it at some point, and went back up and save. And this, what you're seeing, is an old version of Zombie Rush back in May 7th. Yeah, this is months old. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm a little worried now, but let's go ahead and check the Xbox. See if it saved to that, since it was the same account. I went on the Xbox, and turns out, nope, that has versions from April. So I was kind of in a loss. Months of work were gone, and Chester's Temple, which was actually about to be finished, was reverted back to an older state. And I kind of couldn't handle this. So I decided to just continue making this video as a whole, to kind of mark the end of Zombie Rush. Although this wasn't something that was caused because of my mistakes. This was something that was going to happen regardless. Or just originally planned to be after Chester's Temple's release. Now, I am still open to host this once in a while if I get enough demand for it, but I think I'm good with how Zombie Rush went. It was my first real coding experience, and I know I haven't really done too much coding on this channel, despite saying that in my channel description, but it was my first real step into coding, was this. I've always wanted to be a game developer, with my big project in mind being Eternal Space, which was that deep space game I mentioned earlier, but reimagined to be an actual game. I have a bunch of stuff all set up for it. I have a bunch of planning all done for it. And obviously, it's going to change as years go on, but that is my main project I'm working on. But yeah, that was more or less the development cycle of Zombie Rush, the final chapters. I'll probably be working on a new project. Maybe not on Minecraft. Maybe on Roblox. Maybe on itch.io. Maybe on something. Who knows? But Zombie Rush as a whole is overall done. I like the way it came out. It was something I never really imagined myself doing, especially it's so young. So, I want to say thank you to the community for liking this game for 3 damn years. That is really impressive. For being a game that was only marketed off group posts and only on Bedrock Edition, it was really popular, gaining thousands of players, which I never would have expected. I even made some money off of it, even if it was nothing much. Also, a huge thanks to all the helpers, all the people who helped me make this. Obviously there was me, but then there was JT Kill 117, who without his help, most of this world wouldn't even be operable. He helped so much with the abilities. He made the abilities entirely by himself. He made a bunch of stuff. He was the main coder. Sure, I did some coding, and sure, I did do a lot of stuff. JT was the main coder, just like how I was the main builder. We have Fury, who built the Catacombs map. We have Fun Happy Days, who built the Pirate Ship map. We have Ripster, who ended up building the train station map, and also ended up making a video about Zombie Rush. Kind of crazy. We additionally also have Asian Invasion, who ended up making the AFK system, a system that not even me or JT could figure out. We had a bunch of other helpers, and I'm really sorry if I can't remember your names, because, well, I kind of lost the book, but to everybody who's helped out through Zombie Rush, thank you so much, and thank you so much to the community who has been keeping this game alive. I never would have thought it would have gotten to the point it did, and I'm happy that it's even been relatively popular. So yeah, that is my 100th video special. Now, thank you guys for watching. I'm not really sure how to do a outro too well, but yeah. This is Zombie Rush. The development of it. There was more about it, but that was the gist of it, really. I don't want to take too much of you guys' time. This recording's already 28 minutes, so yeah. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video. Peace.